If I were to read this, if I were to read this by myself, right, I probably miss this. You know, like I would not understand it. If I were to read this, if I were to read this by myself. So what we're going to do, I probably miss this, is read the Crucible together. I have homework where I need to read pages. So what we're going to do is read what? The Crucible together. I have homework 32 to 40. Yes, I need to read 30 pages 32 to 40. Um, so let's do that. So 32. Oh, you know, let me turn this off. All right, so 32 to 40. Well, we're way back. Now this is a play, so I will be acting out the characters because I think that would make sense. Here we go. Act 1, Proctor. Against you, Putnam. Against him and all authority. Why is it... Proctor. Why then I must find it and join it. There is no shock among the others. Rebecca. He does not... He does not mean that, Putnam. Oh wait, he does not mean that. Putnam. He confessed it now. Proctor. I mean it solemnly. Rebecca. I like not the smell of this authority. Rebecca. No, you cannot break charity with your minister. You are another kind, John. Clasp his hand. Make your peace. I have a crop to sow and lumber to drag home. He goes angrily to the door and turns to Corey with a smile. What say you, Giles? Giles? Let's say you, Giles. Let's find the party, he says. There's a party? There's a party. Giles. I never changed my opinion of this man, Mr. Paris. I beg your pardon. I never thought you had so much iron in you. Paris, surprised. Why, thank you, Giles. We'll call you Giles, because it's easier to say. It suggests... I just made a voice that reminds me of someone in my class, so I'm just gonna say it regularly. It suggests to the mind what the trouble be among us all these years. To all. Think on it. Wherever is everybody suung, everybody else. Think on it now. It's a deep thing. It's as dark as a pit. I have been 6 time in court this year. There are so many typos in this, I think. Proctor. Familiarly with the worm, although he knows he is approaching the edge of Giles' tolerance with this. It is the devil's fault that a man cannot say you good morning without you clap him for defamation. You're old, Giles, and you're not hearing so well as you did. You're not hearing so well as you did. Giles, he cannot be crossed. John Proctor, I have one last month collected. £4 damages for you public is saying I burned the roof off your house, and I Proctor, laughing. I never said no such thing. But I paid you for it. So I hope I can call you deaf without charge. Now come along, Giles, and help me drag my lumber home. Putnam. Wait a moment, Mr. Proctor. What lumber is that you're dragging, if I may ask you? My lumber from out my forest by the riverside. Why, we are surely gone wild this year. What anarchy this is! The tract is in my bounds. It's in my bounds, Mr. Proctor. In your bounds? Indicating Rebecca. I bought that tract for Goody Nurse's husband 5 months ago. I thought it said Goody Nurse's 5 husbands. Square down? No. Later. How many do I have to read? I have to read from page... okay, 32 to 40. That's not too bad. We're already on 32. Okay. Putnam. He had no right to sell it. It stands here, my grandfather's will, that all the land between the river and... Your grandfather had a habit of willing land that never belonged to him, if I may say it plain. Giles, that's God's... That's God. That's God's truth. He nearly willed away my north pasture, but he knew I'd break his fingers before he set his name on it. Let's go get your lumber home, John. I feel a sudden will to work coming on. You load one oak of mine and you'll fight to drag it home? No. Well, later. I will win it. I'll win it too. Putnam, this fool and I, come on. He turns to Proctor and starts out. Putnam, I'll have my men on you, Corey. I'll clap a writ on you. Enter Reverend John Hale. Hale of Beverly. Mr. Hale... Mr. Hale is nearing 40, a tight-skinned, eager-eyed intellectual. This is a beloved errand for him, one being called here to ascertain witchcraft. He felt the pride of the specialist whose unique knowledge has at last been publicly called for. I am brain dead. Like almost all men of learning, he spent a good deal of his time pondering the invisible world, especially since he had himself encountered a witch in his parish not long before. That woman, however, turned into a mere pest under his searching scrutiny, and the child she had allegedly been afflicting recovered her normal behavior after Hale had given her his kindness and a few days of rest in his own house. However, the experience never raised a doubt in his mind as to the reality of the underworld or the existence of Lucifer's many-faced lieutenants, and his belief is not to his discredit. Better minds than Hale's were, and still are, convinced that there is a society of spirits beyond our ken. One cannot help nodding that one... Am I bending down into the... I am. Let's fix that. I guess not. Where was I? One cannot help nodding that one of his Lins has never yet raised a laugh in any audience that has been this play. It is his assurance that we cannot look to superstition in this. The devil is precise. Evidently, we are not quite certain even now whether diabolism is holy and not to be scoffed at. And it is no accident that we should be so bemused Like Reverend Hale and the other in the others on this stage, we conceive the devil as a necessary part of a respectable view of cosmology. Ours is a divided empire in which certain ideas and emotions and actions are of God, and their opposites are of Lucifer. It is as impossible for most men to conceive of a morality without sin as of an earth without sky. Since 1692, a great but superficial change has wiped out God's beard and the devil's horns. But the world is still gripped between many You seen this? You seen this? Look at this. Check this out. Trying to get up on my chair. Come on. Come here. Come here. Okay. Alrighty. Where were we? The concept of diametrically opposed absolutes. The concept of unity in which positive and negative are attributes of the same force, in which good and evil are relative, ever changing, and always joined to the same phenomenon. Such a concept is still reserved to the physical sciences and to the few who have grasped the history of ideas, when it is recalled that until the Christian era, the underworld has never regarded such a hostile area, and all gods were useful and essentially friendly to man, despite occasional lapses when we... Jesus Christ, calm down! When we see the steady and methodical inculcation into humanity of the idea of man's worthlessness, until redeemed, the necessity of the evil may become evidently as a weapon designed and used time and time again in every age to whip men into a surrender to a particular church or church state. Our difficulty in believing the for want of a better word, political inspiration of the devil is due in great part to the fact that he is called up and damned not only by our social antagonists, but by our own side, whatever it may be. The Catholic Church, through its Inquisition, is famous for cultivating Lucifer as the arch-fiend. But the Church's enemies relied no less upon the old boy to keep the human mind enthralled. Luther has himself accused of alliance with hell, and he in turn accused his enemies to complicate matters further. He believed that he had contact with the devil and had urged theology with him. Jesus Christ. I am not surprised at this, for at my own university, a professor of history, a Lutheran by the way, used to assemble his graduate students. Graduate students draw the shades and commune in the class with Eramus, whatever. He was never, to my knowledge, officially scoffed at for this reason. The reason being that the university officials, like most of us, are the children of a history which still sucks at the devil's teats. The devil has teats. At this writing, only England had held back before the temptations of contemporary diabolism in the countries of the communist ideology. All resistance of any import is linked to the total Malaysian. Am I saying that right? No, wait. Malaysian. Yeah, Malaysian capitalist succubi. And in America, any man who is not reactionary in his views is open to the charge of alliance with the Red Hell. Political opposition hereby is given an inhumane overlay which then justifies the abrogation of all normality, of all normally applied customs of civilized intercourse. A political party is equated with moral right, and opposition to it with diabolical malevolence. Once such an equation is effectively made, society becomes a conjury of plots and counterplots, and the main role of government changes from that of the arbiter to that of the scourge of God. The results of this process are no different now from what Jesus Christ. Calm down, playwright. Alright. Okay. What they ever were, except sometimes I feel like a sermon. I feel like a pastor reading this about God and Satan, you know, suckling on Satan's teats. Where did it say that? I don't remember. Alright, from what they ever were, except sometimes in the degree of cruelty inflicted, and not always even in the department that normally in that department. Normally the actions and deeds of a man were all that society felt comfortable in judging. The secret intent of an action was left to the ministers, priests, and rabbis to deal with. When diabolism rises, however, actions are the least important manifests of the true nature of a man. The devil, as Reverend Hale said, is a wily one. Imagine describing Satan like that. You know, Satan, the person who probably kills literally everyone on Earth, the person who causes all school shootings and stuff. Nah, Satan's a wily one. What is wily? Deaf. It's not like cunning and sly. Okay, I mean, I guess that'd be true, but I just feel like wily is such a light word. I feel like a snake. Oh, I guess snake is wily. Whatever. It sounds too cartoonish and light. Okay, Reverend Hale said, is a wily one, and until an hour before he fell, even God thought him beautiful in heaven. Well, obviously, he's an angel. I mean, like, that's like, I feel like God saying that he is beautiful in heaven is the same as, like, a mom who says his kid who screams at grocery stores is a good kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of have to say that he's a good kid, but he's not. Because it's yours. Okay? Stupid mom. Alright. And until an hour before he fell, even God thought of him as beautiful in heaven. The analogy, however, seems to flatter when one considers that while there were no witches, and then there are communists and capitalists now, and in each camp there is certain proof that spies of each side are at work undermining the other, but this is a snobbish objection and not at all warranted by the facts. None of this is warranted by facts. I have no doubt that people were communing with and even worshipping the devil in Salem. Okay. And if the whole truth could be known, in this case as if it is in others, we should discover irregular and conventionalized propagation of the dark spirit. One certain evidence of this is the Confession of Tituba. I'm working on what is this called? It's Classroom. Go to class. All right, kids. If we go to Google Classroom, we can see that I am doing 7th period honors English. I need to read 32 to 40, and then I gotta answer these questions, and we're gonna answer these questions together. You know. Cool. Alright. Let's continue. Alright. The slave wait, she confessed? Tituba confessed? Nah, not my girl Tituba. My boy. My girl. Okay. Tituba the slave of Reverend Paris, and another is the behavior of the children who are known to have indulged in sorcery with her. They just danced in the forest. They didn't do sorcery. They danced naked in the forest. There are accounts of similar clashes in Europe where the daughters of the towns were assembled at night and sometimes with fetishes, sometimes with the selected young man. Really? Really? There be European thoughts up in here. there are European thoughts indulging in their fetishes at night in the streets. Can you imagine? Put yourself in the shoes of a young man in Europe, 16. When was this? 16, 14, something like that. They be getting it. Alright. Daughters of the town were to someone, okay, sometimes with a selected young man give themselves to love with some bastardly results. The church, sharp-eyed as it must be when God's long dead are brought to life, condemned with orgies as witchcraft, and interpreted them rightly as the resurgence of a Denoisiac forces it had crushed along before: sex, sin, drugs, and the devil. Sorry, it didn't say drugs. Were early linked, and then they continued to be in Salem and are today. From all accounts, there are no more prudential, bomb that one, more in the world than those enforced by the communists in Russia, where a woman's fashions, for instance, are as prudent and all-coverings as an American Baptist would desire. The divorce laws lay tremendous responsibility on the father for the care of his children. So I guess the divorce laws here are just not that strict. Did I get a flu shot? I haven't had a flu shot in like 4 years. that coronavirus is cleaning house. I shouldn't joke about that. I'm gonna joke about that. It's getting all the UAVs. Okay, even the laxity. Okay, well there you go. It's lax. That's what I thought. Okay, even the laxity of divorce regulations in the early years of revolution was undoubtedly the revolution from the 19th century. Victorian immobility of marriage and the consequent hypocrisy that developed from it. If for no other reason, a state so powerful, so jealous of the uniformity of its citizens, cannot long tolerate the atomization of the family, and yet, in American eyes, at least there remains of the conviction that the Russian attitude towards women of lavish and is the devil working again, just as he is working within the Slav who is shocked at the very idea of a woman disrobing herself in a burlesque show. Our opposites are always robbed in sexual sin, and it is from this unconscious conviction that demonology gains both its attractive sensuality and its capacity. I am brain dead from work. I'm sorry. Am I really gonna... I don't... Whatever. To infuriate and frighten. Coming into Salem now, Reverend Hale conceives of himself much as a young doctor on his first call. His painfully acquired armory of symptoms, catchwords, and diagnostic procedures are now to be put to use at last. The road of Beverly is usually busy this morning, and he has passed 100 rumors that make him smile at the ignorance of the Yeomarny in the most precise science. This guy watches Rick and Morty. He feels himself allied with the best minds of Europe, kings, philosophers, scientists, and ecclesiastics of all churches. His goal is light, goodness, and its preservation, and the known of its exhalation of the blessed, whose intelligence sharpened by a minute examination of enormous tract is finally called upon to face what may be a bloody fight with the fiend himself. He appears loaded down with half a dozen heavy books. And the story continues. Pray you, someone take these. Paris delighted. Paris sounds like a cuck. Mr. Hale, oh, it's good to see you again. Taking some books. My, they are heavy. Hale, setting down his books. They must be. They're weighted with authority. Alright, Boomer. Act 1, Paris. A little scared. Well, you do come prepared. Hale. We shall need hard study if it comes to tracking down the old boy. Noticing Rebecca. You cannot be Rebecca Nurse. I am, sir. Do you know me? It's strange how I knew you. But I suppose you look as good as such a soul should. We have all heard of your great charities in Beverly. Do you know this gentleman? Mr. Thomas Putnam and his good wife, Anne. Hale Putnam. Oh, it's not Hale Putnam, it's Hale. Putnam. I had not expected such distinguished company, sir. What is that? Putnam, please. Wait, is this the girl or boy? It does not seem to help us today, Mr. Hale. We look to you to come to our house and save our child. Your child, Alice too? Mrs. Putnam. Her soul seems flown away. She seems and yet she walks. She sleeps, yet she walks. She cannot eat. Cannot eat. Thinks on it. Then, the proctor and Giles Corey. Do you men have addicted children? Pears. No. These are farmers. John Proctor. Giles Corey. He don't believe in witches. Proctor to Hale. I never... Wait, is Proctor the cuck? No, Paris is the cuck. Proctor's a big old burly guy, man. I never spoke on witches one way or another. Will you come, Giles? And then Giles is kind of like a timber man. No, John, I think not. See, I use my own voice because I am a timber man. I'm big and strong. I do lift, I'm sorry. I think not. I have some few queer questions of my own to ask this fellow Proctor. I've heard you to be a sensible man, Mr. Hale. I hope you leave some of it in Salem. Yeah, I was right. I'm not that brain dead. 38. Proctor goes. Hale stands embarrassed for an instant. Quickly. Oh, sorry, Paris. Quickly. Will you look at my daughter, sir? Leads to Hale on the bed. She has tried to leap out the window and discovered her this morning on the high road waving her arms as though she'd fly. You know, honestly, the things that she's doing, I kind of believe in witches now. Hale, narrowing his eyes, tries to fly. Putnam. She cannot bear to hear the Lord's... Oh, wait, this is regular Putnam. She cannot bear to hear the Lord's name, Mr. Hale. That's a sure sign of witchcraft afloat. Hale, holding up his hands. No. Now, let me Where are my glasses? Where are my glasses? Oh, here they are. This is something I imagine Hale Putnam would do. Witchcraft flow. Hale holding up his hands. No. Now let me instruct you. We cannot look to superstition on this. The devil is precise, okay? The marks of his presence are defiant as stone, alright? And I must tell you all that I shall not process unless you are prepared to believe me if I should find no bruise of hell upon her. Yeah. Sorry. It is agreed, sir. It is agreed. We will abide by your judgment. Good then. He goes to the bed, looks down at Betty, to Paris. Now, sir, now he's some Reddit guy. Now, sir, were you watching? Were your first warning of this strangeness? Why, sir, I discovered her, indicating Abigail, and my niece, and 10 or 12 of the other girls dancing in the forest last night. You permit dancing? No. it were secret. Mrs. Putnam, unable to wait. Mr. Paris's slave has a knowledge of conjuring, sir! Paris to Miss Putnam. We cannot be sure of that, Goody Ann. Mrs. Putnam, frightened, very softly. I know it, sir. I said my child. She should not. She should learn from Tituba, who murdered her sisters. Are you hating on the black girl? You hating on my girl? Tituba? Nah. Act 1, Paris. A little scared. Well, you do come prepared. Rebecca. I am, sir. I am. Sir, do you know me? Hale. It's strange how I knew you, but oh wait, hold on. This is repeated. What the? Ah, here we go. Okay. Rebecca, horrified. Goody Ann. Oh wait. Goody Ann! You sent a child to conjure up the dead? Mrs. Paris. Let God blame me. Not you, Rebecca. I'll not have you judging me anymore. Why does it sound like Herbert? To Hale. Is it natural work for the loose 7 children before they live a day? Paris. Shh! Okay? Shut up! Oh? Alright, Rebecca. Rebecca, with great pain, turns her face. There's a pause. Hale. 7... 7 dead in childbirth? Mrs. Putnam softly. Hi. Her voice breaks. She looks at him in silence. Hale is impressed. Paris looks to him. He goes to his books, opens on... Oh, her voice breaks. He looks... He goes to his books, opens one, turns pages, and then reads. All wait avidly. Paris hushed. What book is that? I think that's 50 Shades of Grey. I don't have that one yet. I have the prequel, 50 Shades of Grey Lighter. Mrs. Putnam. What's there, sir? Hale, with a tasty love of intellectual pursuit. Here is all the invisible world, caught, defined, and calculated. In these books, the devil stands stripped of all his brute disguises. Here, all your familiar spirits, your incubi, your succubi, your witches, that go by land, by air, and by sea, your wizards of the night and of the day, have no fear. We shall find him out, and if he has come among us, and I mean to crush him utterly, if he has shown his face, he starts at the bed. Will he hurt the child, sir? I cannot tell. If she's truly in the devil's grip, we may have to rip and tear her to get her free. Alexa, play Rip and Tear.
Here's Rip and Tear by Mick Gordon on Amazon Music.
Alexa, turn that up. Will he hurt the child? I cannot tell if if she is truly in the devil's grip. We may have to rip and tear to get her free. I think he'll go. Then I am too old for this. She rises. Paris, shouting for conviction. Why, Rebecca? We may open up the boil of all ill. Ew, that's so gross. Open up the boil of all our troubles today. Let us hope for that. I go to God for you, sir. Paris with trepidation and resentment. I hope you know Oh, I hope you do not mean we go to Satan here. Slight pause. I wish I knew. She goes out. They feel resentful of her note of moral superiority. Footnote abruptly. Come, Mr. Hale. Let's get on. Sit you here. Giles. Mr. Hale, I have always wanted to ask this is the Doom soundtrack. I've always wanted to ask to learn what signifies the reading of a strange book. What books? Oh, what books? I could not tell. She hides them, Hale. Who does? This? Giles. Martha, my wife. I have walked at night many of time and found her in a corner reading of a book. Now, do you make of that? This is Rip and Tear, alright? He said right here, he said, we're gonna have to rip and tear, so I played Rip and Tear. That's the joke. Turn that down. I just noticed the speakers are really close to the mic, so we'll just have it on ambience. Here we go. Bro, this guy can't read. Martha, my wife, I walked in on her many at night many a time and found her in a corner reading of a book. Now, what do you make of that? Means she's reading 50 Shades of Grey? Darker. She has the sequel, man. Well, that's not necessarily, it just comforts me. Last night, mark this, I tried, and I could not say my prayers. And then she closes her book and walks out of the house, and suddenly, mark this, I could pray again. Old Giles must be spoken for, if not because his fate was to be so remarkable and so different from that of all the others. He was in his early 80s at the time and was the most comical hero in the history. No man has ever been blamed for such what I am retarded. Such, why am I saying such? So much. Sorry. Blamed for so much. If a cow was missed, the first thought was to look for her around Corey's house. A fire blazing up at night brought suspicion of arson to his door. He didn't give a hoot for public opinion, and only his last years after he married Martha did he bother much with the church that she stopped. His prayers is very portable. Proba. The accent highlight my night, but why? Because it's interesting. Okay, this is a play. Okay, you can't just read the same characters. You know? You can't just, I'm not gonna read Rebecca like this voice, and I'm not gonna read Giles like this voice, okay? We can obviously tell that Hale is a Redditor, so he has to talk like this. So actually, it makes sense why I'm doing accents. But he forgot to say that he'd only recently learned any prayers, and it didn't take much to make him stumble over them. He was a crank and a nuisance, and that is the end. But withal a deeply innocent and brave man. Close the book. Did we finish? Read 32 to 40. We finished. Now I'm going to grab my paper and let's do the written portion. I'll be right back. Stay right there, I'll be right back, said my father. That's the last thing he said. Just kidding, I took that joke from another YouTube video. Okay, I'll be right back. Bye. Ah, Jesus Christ, I almost stepped on it. I'm back. Okay. I am back. Alright. It's time to finish this. Let's go. Now, because we read this, I think it's gonna be pretty good to comprehend. And you know what? Pen. Sue me. Sue me. Masane. Sorry. Sue me. Sue me. Do it. I dare you. Sue me. I have a lawyer. And he will sue you back. So try me, whore. Alright. Let's go. Name. Paulo Reyes. Date. Single. Just kidding. I'm not that dumb. Do you guys still write 2019 after you're on your date? I keep writing 19, and I'm like, it's not 19. It's 20. Okay. First question. What does the phrase "armory of symptoms" on page 34 suggest about Hale? Despite his great knowledge, he was a very sickly man. Without bringing ample weapons and guns, he stood no chance against the devil. He suffered great pain in his previous wars with other. Or D, he spent a great deal of time gathering info to combat his problem of the devil. I'm actually going to use pencil because we go over this in class, and if I get a wrong answer, I'm just gonna erase it. So, sorry, I'm not that badass. I'm gonna go with D, because he's not sick. He's a very smart man. He doesn't have guns or weapons. This is the 1600s. He's a doctor. He's a redditor. He just has not been in war, and although he has been researching the devil, I feel like Hale kind of stands the devil. Like, he stands him. Like, that's his idol. Not really. Let's continue. According to page 32, how does Catholic Church use Lucifer or the devil? Describe in your own words. Okay, they talk about Lucifer like Lucifer is like the Jesus version of the devil, because you got the devil. Okay, it's like, I'm pretty sure it's kind of like how God had Jesus, and then he kind of just like threw Jesus into the battlefield. Well, Lucifer was like, I can do that too. Or the devil was like, I can do that too, and his name is Lucifer. So I think it says, right here. The Catholic Church, though its Inquisition, is famous for cultivating Lucifer as the archfiend, but Church's enemies relied less upon the old boy. Lucifer was himself accused of alliance with hell. Yeah, I think that means that he's basically the earth version of Satan. I'm pretty sure. So, it says describe in your own words. I kind of really want to put he's the Jesus version. He's the devil version of Jesus. Is that... It kind of makes sense. I'm just going to do it. Alright, so, the Catholic Church... Oh, no, it's asking how do they use him. And it says the Catholic Church, though its Inquisition is famous for cultivating Lucifer as the archfiend, but the Church's enemies relied no less upon the old boy to keep the human mind enthralled. Okay, so actually the Catholic Church used Lucifer as almost as the opposite as Jesus Christ. Because just like how they used him as a role model of what to do, they used Lucifer to show what not to do. Just like how my mom does to my dad. That's what you don't do. I'm kidding. She doesn't do that. I do that. What does hail represent? Did I just no? Okay, my dad's not Lucifer. Okay, he's not Lucifer. He's not the nicest fella. What does hail represent, and what are the Putnams hoping for from his visit to? Hail kind of represents what does he represent? He's kind of a snob. He's kind of a saint. There we go. Hail. What does hail represent? And hail's like a saint slash super doctor that is an expert on fighting Satan. And the Putnams hope to help their child with his expertise. God, the Putnams are garbage. No, okay, I don't like the Putnams. I do, however, like Abby because she's kind of a crazy hoe. And I kind of like that. She's kind of funny. Explain Hale's previous encounter with witches. Didn't he? His last encounter with witches was that orgy, right? Did he ever talk about that in the play part? I think they talked about it in that long ass paragraph they talked about in Europe. In Europe, there'd be some crazy orgies. Hale's previous encounters with witches was when he was in Europe and he found a young woman having some crazy orgies with selected young men. Alright. Why my audience laugh at the line, "We cannot look to superstition on this. The devil was precise." The audience might laugh at this because this is all faith, right? Like they're building all of this on faith. So the fact that they're saying superstition, that's like I'm laughing at that because as an intellectual, I know that that's just a whack statement. The audience might laugh at this line because the whole play is about superstition and faith slash religion that in Salem drive everything. So this statement I wrote statement as 2 words. Statement is contradictory. I believe. When did we begin to see the underworld and the devil as a hostile area? Why would you think this is beneficial to those in charge in the church? Well, because this would be beneficial to tell you why hell's bad, so that people in the church say, yeah, I don't want to go there. Okay? Abby, forget yourself. You a hoe. I'm not going down there. Because that place sucks. Okay? Fire? Like, come on. Fire and, like, a lot of suffering? That's a pretty good reason to stay the F away from there. Am I right? Am I right, guys? Can I get an amen? Alright, so yeah. When did we begin to see the underworld as a Satanist place? Red Hell. Wait, what? At this time, writing in... Found it. I found it. Yeah. All right. It says right here. We'll start from here. Since 1692, a great but superficial change has wiped out God's beard and the devil's horns, but the world is still gripped between 2 diametrically opposed absolutes. The concept of unity, in which positive and negatives are attributes of the same force, which good and evil are relative, ever-changing, and always joined to the same person phenomenon. Such a concept is still reserved to the physical sciences and the few who have grasped the history ideas. When it is recalled that until the Christian era, the underworld was never regarded as a hostile area, that all gods were useful and essentially friendly, when we see the steady and methodical inclusion into humanity, the idea of man's worthlessness until redeemed, the necessity of the devil may become evident as a weapon designed to surpass Metal Gear. No, a weapon designed and used time and time again to every age to whip into men into. I called it. See, look at that. I'm so smart. Look at that. It says, time and time again, every age to whip men into a surrender to a particular church or church state. What did I say? Hell? No, I'm not going down there. I'm going to go to church every Sunday because hell sounds like hell. Literally, it's hell. So, it didn't really tell me when they saw that, though. We began to see that, I don't know, we began to see the underworld, and the devil as hostile around 1692. This was beneficial because, click my lead, it surrendered men to be in a church state, and this is obviously good for those who run the church, because tithing, I guess, I don't know, or something like that. You know, I used to think that tidings get beamed directly to God. I was like, yeah, man, take my dollar, give it to God, throw it up there, whatever, do whatever you need, get Elon to shoot my money up there. No, it goes to paying the space that they use the church in, the pastors. That's all good and dandy, but I really thought that God, which, like, come to think of it, that's pretty weird. Like, why would God have use for money? He's God. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure he has like a /give me and then just like infinite money. /give me 64 diamonds, you know? Like, he has a lot of stuff. Probably has like 4 command blocks up there. I'm pretty sure he's fine. He doesn't need my money. But he does need me to give me his money. Why? Because it's kind of weird, actually. now that I think of it, it's like, okay, it was something like you need to give like 30% in tidings to God. Something about not being attached to money. But I feel like making a set number to give every single time just feels like a subscription. Almost. And it almost makes me more attached to money. Because it's like, if I get more money, then I can give him 30% and still have a pretty good amount of money. So let me grind to get more money. But I guess 30% scales. So it's not like... But I mean, if you're living at a certain wage, then 30% of something and then having that more money to live off that wage would be acceptable at the same time. It scales. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Like if you have $200 and you get... Okay, let's say you have like $200. Let's say you have like $500. Okay, and you minus 30%. That's $350, right? Okay, and then let's say you have to pay $150 for rent because you live in a shanty house. That only gives you $200 to work with, you know. But let's say if you made even more money, let's say you made $1,000, and then you lost 30% of that, you would still have 700, and you subtract 700, 200. Wait, no, did I say 200 for rent? I said 150 for rent. You know, you pay rent 150. You still have 550 to do whatever you want, so you get more money. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like I would want a fatter paycheck to give him money so that I have more money for myself. Therefore, making me value money more instead of just giving it to him. I would want to get that padding. I'm so tired. I should not put homework off after working, because God, I'm tired. I'm tired, and my answers are retarded. What does Hale think of Rebecca? I think Hale is kind of coming on to Rebecca. Oh, wait, Hale. Hale likes Rebecca for all her charity, and in the pages, Hale is low-key flirting with her, calling her a beautiful soul. That's what he said, right? He said he called her a beautiful soul. It's like, bro, you a beautiful soul, Rebecca Nurse. Damn. Damn, your soul is fucking. Oh. Your soul's freaking awesome. Damn. Damn, I suppose you look such a good soul should. Damn. You fine. Okay. Good soul. And that's homework completed. 9:24 on the clock. We still have an hour and 30 minutes till my bedtime. That's what I'm thinking right now. So thanks. I don't understand why 4 people are watching this. But thank you for joining me on doing my homework. I don't know if you're copying answers, or I don't know if you're just watching because you're bored, falling asleep to this. I don't care. Thanks for watching. And oh, 5. Thanks for watching. We're done. You can leave class now. Goodbye. Goodbye. Have a beautiful night.